Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jeff from Suns and Shadows. We are doing a little post-show review. It's going to be called The Morning After AEW Forbidden Door 2024. I am Jeff. I have been a long-time wrestling fan. This is going to be hopefully in a series of more wrestling content. If it doesn't work out on our channel here, I'll end up moving this over to my personal channel, which we will have to wait and see if people want to see more of this content on here. We do like to get into some pop culture items around on our shows between our Deadwire live stream and just references throughout most of our videos. We always tend to end up bringing up like wrestling content. Kevin and I have been wrestling fans for a very long time. I've been watching since 1984. I grew up on both WCW, NWA, and AWA on ESPN. I watched a little bit of that. And then, of course, WWF, now WWE. And throughout the years, I've largely been a fan and I've stuck around. There's been some off periods where, I'm not going to watch this for a while. I'm not going to watch that for a while. I always come back to wrestling. So I've never really been out of the loop for more than maybe just a few months at a time here and there. But largely, I have been a fan most of my life. And so I really like talking wrestling. And we just had a fantastic AEW pay-per-view last night, and I really enjoyed the card. I think on an overall scale, if you want just a quick little assessment, this is probably one of the best Forbidden Doors they've had. I'm not going to say it's the best, and I'm also not going to say it's the best pay-per-view of the year. I do feel a couple of the matches, while good, were largely misses, and we'll run through the card. I have the card up on the other side of the screen so you can kind of like see where things are maybe heading. But this was not the actual lineup. This is just the billing of the card. We kicked off this show with MJF and Hechicero. I'm enjoying Hechicero. His introduction to AEW through CMLL has been a fun thing to watch. It's a nice injection of like some talent from across the world. And I didn't know anything about Hechicero before all this. I don't watch Mexican Lucha Libre wrestling. I know of it. I used to watch like years ago when it was El Messias and like what was the other guy's name? Cibernetico, and like old Conan, older like the older style of Lucha Libre. I know Conan's like involved in whatnot, but so I know of these organizations and I've seen like clips here and there, but I really don't know a lot of the talent nowadays. But seeing like, say, Hechicero come in and he works a very nice style. He's got a submission style. He can fly, he can grapple, he can fight. And his opposition with MJF in this match was a very interesting dynamic. And I think they played very well off of each other. They were both playing kind of like the tweener heel roles, and Hechicero started to get more into the flipping off the crowd and like screwing around with MJF. Ultimately, MJF wins with a sheer drop brain buster. If we could talk this morning, I clearly need a little sip of coffee for the working people here. But he wins with a sheer drop brain buster, which is a new move in his arsenal. I know I've seen him do it like when he's been in MLW and whatnot, but it was never a finisher. It's nice to see the brain buster come back as a finisher, so I'm enjoying that. And it's not used as a setup move. And I like what he's incorporating, what he's doing now. MJF's looking good, but it feels like he needs to get involved in a story. And this is a pay-per-view that has a little story going on here and there, but nothing on an overall major level until later on in the show. But I like MJF. He had a very good match. It was a good win. If you're looking for any sort of like rating scale from me, the most I'm going to do is I'm going to either do thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in the middle. This one gets a thumbs up because it was a fun match. It just felt a bit short. But MJF wins with the pin. And then we roll right on into the Elite with Okada, the Young Bucks versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Scissor Ace is what they were calling him for this match, and the Acclaimed. Okay, for the most part, I like the match. I feel like this is a bit of a miss, though. It almost feels like it starts with ultimately the entrance themes for the Elite and their entrance is fantastic. I enjoy that with the old Cody Vader and what they're doing with that setup. But when you get to Max Caster's rap, he finally has a rap for the first time in what feels like forever. And when he gets to some of his quips, most of them are just like, okay. I mean, I didn't mind like the little jab at podium speaking and debate speaking with Mr. Biden, but for the most part, he went on to this one little cycle of using the word bitch over and over again. And I wasn't really like picking up on what he was trying to do. And his rap just seemed to drag on. I don't know if they're just trying to make his raps feel special and give him a little more verses he can go through, but it doesn't feel like Max is at the level he used to be at, Max Caster here. So I'm not really sure what's going on with him, and I don't like the mustache look. I mean, maybe it'll grow on me, maybe it won't. I like the Acclaimed. I'm more of an Anthony Bowens is the better wrestler of the duo. And actually a better speaker, better overall talent. But for the most part, this was a pretty short but fun match. Not too much crazy happened, not too many like stunts or anything like that. And it basically ended with Okada giving the Rainmaker to Hiroshi Tanahashi and pinned him straight up. And I want to say the most of the story for the match was just, the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Okada just screwing around with everybody. And hearing the Okada chant during his entrance was super fucking funny. Pardon my language. I'm trying to keep this show a little bit on the more PG-13 level so more people can check out our content. But for the most part, that was super funny, and I really got a kick out of that. he was going into the comedy quite a bit, but once he got serious and the match got really going towards the end, he picked it up and he put Hiroshi down. And then we roll right into the Bryan Danielson Shingo match, and this was the first great match of the night. And they had a hard-hitting contest, good grappling. Overall, the storyline of the match was I'm pretty much kind of going a little 50-50. Shingo seemed to take the lead a few times, and it worked out very well. These are both veterans. They know what they're doing in the ring, and this was an amazing match. Almost all of Bryan Danielson's matches are like pretty freaking awesome to begin with. This one is no different. I enjoyed Bryan and Shingo just going toe-to-toe with each other. It felt like it could have gone like another 5 to 10 minutes. It felt like they were really getting the crowd at the end. But overall, I really did enjoy it. And Bryan got Shingo to tap out due to either a ref stoppage or it was an actual tap out. The camera was away from the other side, so it was really hard to tell from the camera angle. The commentary seemed to kind of go back and forth about what exactly was the ending. I don't think we ever got a final decision on that, but basically it was like a ref tap out, sort of stoppage. But I enjoyed that match very much. And hey, let's keep on rolling. Then we go on to Mina Shirakawa against Toni Storm for the heart and the affection of Miss Mariah May and for the women's world title. I like this match. Oh, and just to go back for like the Elite, the Acclaimed, I'm going to go thumb in the middle. For Bryan Danielson, Shingo, I'm going thumbs up on that one. Now for Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm, good match. It seemed like the crowd kept going in and out of supporting the match, but by the end of the match, they were getting them into the crowd. It feels like this match was a bit abbreviated and short. Mina's very good. I think just her and Toni just need to get like another match in together or just work a little more together, work out some of that little clunkiness because there was a bit of like clunkiness to their match at the beginning. But by the time you got to the middle portion of the match, they seemed to be catching on with each other. Like, okay, all right, I got your timing. We got my timing. All right, let's fucking go. I mean, when you're wrestling in front of an audience versus like no audience, it's going to be different. And I really enjoyed the match. Mina is going to be a star. She's going to do very well. And the good thing, they kept Mariah out of the match for the most part, and it was a very enjoyable match. Tony won with the Storm Zero. It seemed like the ending was a bit rushed. I don't know if that meant that they had a few more minutes, but they got told to go home. I'm not sure. However, I really like their styles and how they work well together. I'm just kind of curious where we're going with Tony next. It does feel like they're setting up the Owen Hart for maybe Mariah to win and then challenge at All In. But it feels like we just are in the middle of this story of, because after the match, post match, Mina and Tony, show respect. They hug. They do the fun little post match where Mariah's like, "We all need to kiss each other." So that was pretty interesting. Just to kind of see, like, well, they're coming together as a trio. Now, are they going to be a little group for a bit? Like, like we've seen with other factions, like the Outcasts and whatnot. And then, so it's really kind of hard to tell, like, where we're going with the story, what kind of timeline we're on. I'd almost wonder if at World's End is when we finally get Mariah and Tony going toe to toe. I'm a fan of Mariah. I'm enjoying her work. I think she's really come around to the style of AEW, and she's connecting with the audience. So it's really important that that continues. And I think they're going to use this story to help Mina get a little more cemented into the division. We already have some fantastic ladies wrestling right now. Seems like people are coming off the shelf. Hopefully my favorite Jamie is back soon. I am a big fan of Jamie Hayter. And as we saw a little bit later, somebody is officially off the shelf and back on the show. And then they also showed like Hikaru Shida a couple of times, at least once during the main card here. And it's like, good. You're reminding people that she's still around. So there's some amazing talent. Kind of wondering what we're going to do with like Riho and some of the other talents as well. I think it might be time to move Athena from Ring of Honor back up to this card. But they seem to be focusing on that story in Ring of Honor. I'm not watching a whole lot of that, but Athena is freaking killing it in Ring of Honor. So she's definitely a standout. I think she's just trying to help some of the talent there in Ring of Honor so they can take over for themselves when they move her back. And then for Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, I'm going to go thumbs up. I really liked the match. Just felt a little short and a little clunky, but it ended up working out and it ended up being a fun match. After that, we rolled into Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy. This is one of my top 3 favorite matches of the night. This was amazing, great story. You couldn't really tell who was actually going to win this match, and I feel like they treated both guys incredibly well. Orange reminds everybody in this match that he can actually do all the wrestling things that you need to do and work with different styles. And working with Zack, it's like, I wasn't exactly feeling like the storyline in the feud of the match, but the match in and of itself brought it all in and made it work very well. I think people just need to see more of Zack Sabre Jr. on AEW television. Yes, more Zack Sabre Jr. on AEW. Dude is tremendous. He's fantastic. And the match was really enjoyable, really awesome. They had some really cool submissions and sequences. Even the finish. I don't even know what to tell you what that fucking submission move was, or effing submission move was, but he basically put Orange Cassidy in a freaking pretzel, and Orange had to, like, say, tap out. And Orange can handle the loss, but I do feel like, how many more times are you going to keep him losing before you start to rehab his storyline? He won against Trent, but he still got beat down in the end by Trent and the Don Callis family. And now he just went toe-to-toe with Zack Sabre Jr., and he lost again. If we're going to do anything with Orange, maybe give him a little bit of a break. Let him have a month or 2 off just to chill out, relax, recoup from any injuries he might have. Give everybody a little bit of a break. The audience could use a little break. I'm not saying keep him off TV entirely, but he doesn't need to be in matches. Keep him off of a storyline. Let him have a moment where he can breathe. And then when he comes back, you can get him rolling again and we can go forward. Maybe at that point you can elevate him up the card. I know I'll probably hear from some wrestling fans saying, "You want him in the main event?" Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm a fan. The shtick works, and he's a fantastic wrestler, and he's over with the crowd. I think we just need to stop handing him a ton of losses. You're starting to devalue him as a character and as a wrestler. They need to stop doing that. Give him either a little break or I don't know what you're doing. Just get him to All In, do a match there, then let him have off until what is it, Full Gear in November? That would be dope. Or have him, just something. Let him have a break. Let everybody have a break. He's a bit overexposed. And so I'm going to give that match like a serious thumbs up. And then we roll right into the I am the Learning Tree match with Jeff Cobb and the Learning Tree with the Redwood Big Bill going up against Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. This is okay. I like the match. It felt very short, like insanely short. But I think when you have like 13 matches on a card and then you count like any sort of 0 hour, and I'm not covering 0 hour. I barely watched that. I watched a little with my wife before the show started, and we just kept talking. We were having drinks and just hanging out and chilling. So I didn't get to pay too much attention to it, and that's fine. I don't need to pay that much attention to it. I will watch that a little bit later today. And but overall fun. Yet again, another fun match. It was a good match, but it never really hit like another gear. It just kind of ended at the end. And I liked the finish, but it felt like it felt like we were getting there, but it also felt like, oh, this is going to be another false finish. And it just was the 1, 2, 3. Hook beat Jericho using his Judas effect on Chris Jericho. So he hit that spinning back elbow and knocked Jericho the hell out. But what I liked was at the beginning of the match, Jericho got onto the mic because people were chanting, "Please retire." And Jericho was like, "You don't want me to retire." And maybe that should be part of his shtick, is like, if he's going to do something like that, maybe that should be part of his new gimmick, is like he waits for a crowd to chant something at him, rolls out of the ring, grabs a mic and says something in response to it. It gives a little bit of spontaneity to it. I think for the most part, he's doing all right with this new character. It felt like of all the overexposed characters in AEW and wrestlers, Jericho feels the most overexposed. This dude, regardless of what you think of him personally, Jericho just could use a break. Like, just give him a month. I know he's this workaholic dude and he just can't take any time off. Give him a month off. Jericho, sit at home for 4 to 6 weeks, but you're an FTW champion. You're in the middle of a story. Yeah. Once this storyline is over with, give the man a break. But I see what he's doing. I like seeing Brian Keith. I don't know if he's legit injured, though. I thought that was just story. And then we had this weird little thing on Dynamite this last Dynamite about Minoru Suzuki going to be on the team. And then he basically says, "No, I don't want to be on your team. I want to wrestle you for the FTW championship." So then what is going on with that storyline? I thought that was being set for Forbidden Door. I thought by some fluke Jericho would do double duty, but I don't know. Like I said, I didn't catch 0 hour. I don't know how they were kind of explaining that. They barely talked about it during the match on commentary. They largely just said Minoru was going to be his partner, and then he just challenged him to an FTW match at some point. So I guess we'll see how Murder Grandpa does. I love Minoru. He's a freaking twisted dude. Yeah, I'm going to try and watch my language. This is going to take a couple of videos here, but I enjoy Minoru Suzuki a ton. I think he's fantastic. I love seeing the guy, and he just looks so freaking evil half the time. So him against Jericho could be very entertaining and exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. But, I like seeing Hook get the win. Joe, Shibata, Hook. It's a great trio. I definitely feel like we're working on getting that 6-man division back up and rolling again. And I'm game for that. Like, it feels like we're building up the tag division and the 6-man tag division. And I know, too many title belts. I do completely agree. AEW has a title belt problem, but it does feel like we're building up all the divisions, and that's going to give everybody a chance to work and be on TV. And the best chance at doing that for the guys that aren't on TV is, I know it sucks, but being in a 6-man is not going to hurt you. It's actually helped, like, say, Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. And like, now people, when they see the Gates of Agony, it's like, oh man, those are two bad mofos. And Brian Cage has completely like reminded everybody how good he is. And while he does a lot of wild spots that he probably doesn't need to for a guy his muscle size and weight, he's a good wrestler. Is he the best talker? Time will tell, but I do enjoy Brian Cage. And just using that as an example, I think this could be good for Joe, Hook, and Shibata. Shibata's the comedian of the bunch. I mean, it's a great trio, and the learning tree is fine as long as you're getting more and more eyes on Brian Keith. He's a very good talent, very good wrestler. I'm all for it. And seeing Big Bill after everything he's done and gone through, how he's worked so hard to rehab his image, and where he's at now, he's in a good space. And it's good to see that. And Jeff Cobb, I think, was the shining light of this match. He really stood out the most. I'm not sure where his contract's at, what he's going to be up to, but I think he would be a good addition should that happen. But he absolutely should get a New Japan run a little bit more up the card before you bring him in. I think that's what he wants to. I haven't heard anything to say otherwise, but Jeff Cobb. Okay, Learning Tree Samoa Joe. Thumbs up. Then we roll into the ladder match for the TNT Championship. And of course, everybody knows the results by now. You're just here for a little bit of the reaction and the thought process here and checking out our wrestling show here. But Jack Perry wins. This match was absolutely wild. There was some amazing stunts. There was some good psychology. Leo Rush, I liked the fact that him and a few others would constantly run up the ladder instead of the slow climb you would get in WWE. And I like that. I like the attention to detail. The psychology of this match was really good. Mark Briscoe's a complete insano. And my wife loves wearing his little chicken kung fu shirt, which is so super fun. And, this is just a completely wild match. And it was so funny to see even Konosuke Takeshita suddenly start getting chants and people rooting for him like so bad. I swear, whenever you think this guy is cooling off as a character and a wrestler, Takeshita comes back and he wins the crowd over with his matches so bad and or so good, depending on your viewpoint. He just wins the crowd over, and people want to get behind this guy. And I know he's in the middle of a heel run right now with the Callis family, but he would have been an okay choice too if you really wanted to really surprise everybody with a win. And he actually came out to his original theme before he joined the Don Callis family. That was the other kind of recurring theme going through the show, was people coming out to like alternate theme songs. Like Orange Cassidy came out to his original, and then Moxley came out to his New Japan Death Rider song. And so there was a few times it's like, okay, that's a little different. That could be due to rights issues in Japan. Who knows? But it definitely gave a different vibe to the show. Like, we are truly watching a combined effort show. And so we get from the ladder match, Jack Perry wins. All I wrote down was, this is wild. El Phantasmo and Konosuke Takeshita and Mark Briscoe are really standing out. Dante Martin, stop acting like you broke your goddamn leg every time you fall off a ladder, please. That was very scary. I wasn't exactly a big fan of that. Hopefully you're okay. If you even catch this video, your selling is impeccable, but you're scaring the crap out of everybody knowing what happened the last time in a ladder match with your leg. Please don't do that. But overall, everybody played a very good role in this match. And even Jack Perry at times would constantly look around and was like, hey, I can go up that ladder now. So overall, Jack Perry, he wins the match. He's our new TNT champion. Very, very good match. I would absolutely give this a thumbs up. This is one of the top 3 matches of the card for me tonight. And I was very pleased. Good ending. I don't know. If you were feeling like doing a surprise, Konosuke would have been a very good surprise, or even Mark Briscoe as like, a hidden sleeper gem of a winner. And then you'd have to do something with the ROH title. Mark Briscoe should be on the main shows as well. I don't know what Ring of Honor is actually able to do for him, but he's connecting with the crowd and he's a good wrestler. And I've been enjoying the hell out of him, especially to that one Dynamite when Jack Perry just kind of strolled through. And after he left the scene, he's like, yeah, you get your ass out of here, Jack Perry. So we'll end up seeing how this plays out, but that was super fun. And then we roll into the Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vaquer match. Vaquer? I apologize. I am not very good with names. I'm okay. But for the TBS title, this match was okay. I think Stephanie was getting crazy over with the crowd, and the crowd actually kind of hijacked the match a little bit, where they started chanting F Boston Celtics, F Boston Red Sox, getting under Mercedes' skin. I think the crowd was really turning on her, and Mercedes played a little into it, but after like a few clunky first few minutes, they ended up getting into a really good groove with this match. I like the match. I just felt like most of the time it felt like Mercedes just was holding back. She's still a bit hesitant with running and doing certain moves or this, that, the other. It just felt like she was constantly like she's thinking too much instead of actually working the match. And so ultimately the match ended up being fine. Mercedes, your finisher, the moneymaker, where you throw them up and on the back and you try and flip them around into a DDT. That, I'm sorry, Mercedes fans, that move looks incredibly stupid. At least she rolled it into a bank statement. I don't know what they're going to call it now. They can't call it that, but they were calling it the crossface. And ultimately that ended up being a fine finish, but the crowd was really getting into Stephanie, and Stephanie was looking really awesome in this match. And once we got past the first like 7 minutes or about to the halfway point, once the crowd started being like, hey, this chick's all right, then we got really rolling and the match ended up being pretty good. I just feel like Mercedes still isn't, she might not be where she wants to be. I don't know if that's a physical thing or a mental thing. She looks great, but I'm not sure why she's still like hesitating. I know bad ankle injury and everything, and you're just trying to be extra careful, but it is starting to affect the flow of the match. And people can see you being very tender and careful and ginger. And if you're going to do that, that should also be part of a storyline. Like her ankle injury is still in the back of her head and it's still getting to her, but that's not part of a story. That's not even part of a character arc. So that is a concern with Mercedes going forward, but I will give this a thumbs in the middle. Stephanie gets a thumbs up. Mercedes kind of brings it to a thumbs in the middle. Good match. There was more crowd into this than the Toni Storm Mina Shirakawa match. So this ended up being a little bit of a better match, but I'm still going to, hey, it's fine. I'm not giving it a thumbs down. So please don't think that. I did like the match, but it had some issues. It was very clunky and, just everything I just went through. So overall, the match was thumbs in the middle. The post match, I'm going to give that a thumbs up. However, I have a concern because DMD is now back and she's going to be going after Mercedes in the TBS title. I really like that. That was a cool, fun surprise. I was unaware that was even going to be a thing. We've been hearing rumors that she's going to be coming back very soon. I kind of figured maybe at, like, say, All In or All Out, one of those she'd be coming back around. I mean, there's the rumors about Jamie as well. Being a big Jamie Hayter fan, I'm super ready for her to come back, just flat out. But yeah, I'm sorry. This is I should probably just have gone on a live stream doing this. So if y'all want live streams in the future of this content, hey, please put a comment down below. We are gonna try and figure out some kinks or move this, like I said, to my other channel. But my problem with what happened with Britt coming out is she just comes out on stage. Clearly she's going to be going after Mercedes, and Mercedes is like, okay, god damn it, now I have to deal with this lady. Is you should have given Britt a mic. I know you want to save that for Dynamite and try and pop a rating. I get it. That's fine. I don't exactly agree with that. I think you're not going to do any physical activity. You got a storyline you're building here. But I would at least have had Britt with a microphone and say, I don't think everybody remembers just who I am. You call yourself the boss around here? Well, you ain't the boss of me. I run this place, and now that belt is coming home to mama. And drop the mic and walk out. Just a simple, you got 60 seconds. Remind everybody who the hell you are, Britt. You cut a great promo. You're a really good wrestler. I'm excited to have you back. I wish they would have let you talk. That seems to be a problem when they do these big surprises is, oh, I'm just going to show up and be like, when it should be, hey, everybody, and you in the ring, not bad, but you ain't me, and I'm coming for that belt now because it's the one belt she hasn't carried. So I'm excited for the feud. I just feel like they could have allowed Britt to like really do something remarkable in just 60 seconds. It wouldn't have killed any time because he kept showing the shots of them back and forth. Could have given her a chance to actually have a line. But for the most part, we then roll into Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley for the IWGP World title. I'm a big fan of Jon Moxley. All right, and I just lost a few viewers. I like Jon Moxley a lot. Naito is fine. I've never been the biggest Naito fan. I don't hate him at all. I think he's a good wrestler. I love his character. And I have watched his matches before. It just feels like he's kind of hit sort of like the back end of his career. Kind of like we saw with Hiroshi Tanahashi like years ago. Like he was still at peak level, but within a few years you saw him slowing down. And like matches are still good, but he's not able to do what he used to do. And overall the match was fine. I'm actually going to go a little more on a thumbs down on this match. And I hate to do that to my guy, John, but I think he works matches very well with a lot of people. But with Naito, I wasn't really feeling this match. And I don't think Naito was either. So I don't put this to, I just think this was not the greatest combo, and Naito winning makes sense. They're going to be getting through the rest of the summer here in the fall, and they got to build towards, Wrestle Kingdom or Wrestle Dynasty, or whatever that is, or maybe first night is Wrestle Kingdom and the second night is Wrestle Dynasty. I'm a little confused by that because it's going to be in the Tokyo Dome. They announced Wrestle Dynasty, which is going to be like this combined wrestling event. They're basically doing their own version of Forbidden Door in Japan around Wrestle Kingdom. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But yeah, this match it was a little deflated. No, people were into Moxley and Moxley did fine. This match, it just wasn't clicking and it wasn't there. And I'm sorry to say that, but this match was a thumbs down for me. And Naito wins. He becomes the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion because he basically straight up pinned Moxley. I almost would have preferred a different finish where you knocked him the hell out or something like that. But hey, that's how it goes. And then we get to the main event. There is not much I'm going to say for this match, as this is the match of the night. This match was amazing. Will and Swerve, they were flawless in this match. They told an amazing story. They are very much equals. This match absolutely should have ended this show. At first, I would have told you the TNT Championship match, the ladder match, as wild and crazy as that was, is like, how the hell do you follow that? Well, they did, and then they really did with this match. Their the back and forth, who's in control, are we going to do the Tiger Driver 91, this, that, and the other. I wasn't a big fan of too much of like the post match with Don Callis, but I understand we're working a storyline here with Will, and we're trying to bring him up to the main event scene without overdoing it. So I had a feeling Swerve was going to win this match, and that's totally okay by me. Will hasn't lost a match since she's been on the main card and the main show since March. He's 18-0. They brought it up too many times. You should have brought it up once or twice and let it sit. But to the audience, when we keep hearing that over and over and over, I heard it like 7 or 8 times. Maybe somebody's actually done a little ticker count on that. But when the commentary team was beating that over our heads, it was like, yeah, Will's losing this match. You guys overplayed your hand a little bit. You should have kept a little shut on that one. But for the most part, this match was amazing. I don't write down match times. I care about, like, was this good? Was this bad? Or was this just okay, middle of the road? And this match, totally amazing. I could break down this match for like the next hour, but I also know that this video is running long and I got to get to work soon. So I do apologize. I actually didn't think I was going to be talking this much or having this much fun doing it over my morning coffee, but goddamn, guys, this was a hell of a match. And I got nothing bad to say about Swerve or Will and the post match with Callis and Nana and the screwdriver and whatnot. That didn't play too much into it. I mean, we had a ref get kind of bowled over, and that led to the kind of like, all right, here we go with the post-match stuff. Who's going to run out and do this, that, and that? But for the most part, that just allowed Swerve to retain. Will did have a visual pin on him, so that gives that at least says he could have beat him. And so my quick thought on this is that next year, All In, he's gonna get his world title match, and this might be the last time they do Wembley is next year, because the rumors are they're not always going to be doing the All In Wembley show, or is it All Out? It's one of the two. When they do the Wembley show, it's probably going to be the last time they do that, because they want to take it a little more international. That's just rumor. It's just speculation, but it makes sense to me. You want to show people how Will operates at this level at the top of the card. I think he exceeded expectations. He did very well. He's an amazing wrestler. We just have to work a little bit on character for him. He's got to get away from the Callis family. That's clearly going to be the storyline going forward after this. Who he's wrestling against, that's to be determined. I guess we'll end up seeing maybe on Dynamite, or we might wait a week. We will see. And Will, condolences to your grandmother. That was so sad to hear about that. So heart goes out to you, dude. But you have nothing to be ashamed about. This was an amazing match. I'm a big fan of both guys. Whose house? Swerve's house. And I don't know what else to say other than this was a very fun pay-per-view. Most of these pay-per-views from AEW are range from like really good to freaking amazing. I would definitely call this really good with 3 outstanding matches, couple mid matches, and 1 sort of downer match, and that's not including 0 Hour. But thank you everybody for tuning in to the morning after with Jeff and talking about AEW Forbidden Door 2024. If you like this video, please hit the like button down below. Comment, you got any feedback for me as we get a little wrestling stream going here. I'd like to hear about it. Should I do something different with graphics? Should I do a different background? Should I stop talking about stupid shit? Or should I, I want to hear some feedback. Let's work constructive. I want to be able to talk wrestling with everybody, because this is like that corner of the knowledge that a dude has is like, I have so much unnecessary knowledge of wrestling, but it's one of my favorite things. Absolutely. So put a comment down below. I absolutely want to hear some constructive criticism. If you tell me to piss off, well, hey, that's your call. I'm not going away. But if you also like this, please hit this little subscribe button, hit the little bell notification, and we'll see you all on the next one. Cheers, everybody.